It's a
All
all
right.
right. We're live. Yep.
All right. Welcome to the New Moon Chat. This is Aries new moon. This is Aries time, sun, moon, time for action, time for fast decision making, time for change and new beginnings. All of this is happening right now, and it's so cool. And with the end of retrograde as of today, it's been
Woo!
I know, no doubt. And that's what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about retrograde, new beginnings, creating change, how we've kind of managed through retrograde recently, and how we're going to implement all of this together. So to start us off, I did I do an oracle card, a tarot card every day, but today I did it for us. And with everything I just said, it hit home unreal. So this is from my frequency deck, and this is alchemy and how perfect that is. Manifesting ideas, our ideas into this physical reality. So just focused and difficult decision making quickly and big steps, fast steps. Know your strengths because shit's about to happen. So let's start with retrograde.
Oh. Well, who wants to go first?
I know.
It's been that good, huh? That good for you too? Well, I'll dive in. Mine's been, for a long time, I really focused on all of the astrology stuff. I kept in touch with all of it, of what the planets were doing and, what the moons were doing. And then I found that I would kind of match my behavior to what I thought it should be. Like there was a little bit of that where I was kind of manifesting that.
Yeah.
So I've a bit of a step back to allow myself to be a little more human, and then not so much be researching all the time of like, why am I feeling this way? Is it the moon? Why am I feeling this way? Is it Mercury? However, that's what for a few months, but then whatever was going on with this past Mercury retrograde took me for a ride. It specifically was around a relationship with my boyfriend, and it's like character defects were just oozing out of my pores to be released, but we are very, very compatible people, but for whatever reason, we just were missing the mark with each other. And it actually came to a head where we had to have a very real talk conversation. I mean, like just really clear the air. These are the types of conversations that if everyone in the world had them, I feel like divorce rates just would not exist. Like maybe like 2% of people would, because we said we were real, like just all of the stuff that you would normally like try to kid glove in order to not hurt the other person's feelings. But because with Mercury retrograde, because our communication styles weren't meshing, we had to go just let's be very clear here. And we had to take a little time to see if we wanted to continue on with the relationship. And then we have, and it's corresponded with the new moon and then getting out of retrograde and all of that. What we both learned was a lot about boundaries, dependency, that sort of thing. We found such amazing partners in one another that we want to do whatever we can to keep that partner. And so a lot of times old patterns come up of like, let me be a robot person rather than being myself. So retrograde, whatever it is, however worked out, helped us to show old stuff and now really start fresh from this really grounded place of learning what our needs are. And something I've noticed with Aries, and my North Node is in Aries, meaning like this lifetime for me is about learning to stand up for myself. It's about learning to be selfish. My South Node is in Libra, so that's more of like, kumbaya, my lord. Like, let's all work together. I understand where everyone's coming from. Bad ever. So a healthy expression of anger, learning to be selfish, and very action oriented. Like, let's move it, let's do it.
Yeah.
And
And move on. It's okay. Just move on.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And this past weekend, I've been standing up for myself for the first time ever. So that's been really amazing to experience, where I'm letting that fire come out a little bit, and I'm kind of letting my inner Beyonce out. So that's where
That's awesome.
Oh, that's interesting. So your communication experience over this time has been human communication instead of
yes.
technology disrupts. Yeah. Mine, the same thing with mine, and in every avenue of my life, from family to business to just friends to animals, everything has been really interesting and eye-opening and different. In some ways more difficult, in some ways much easier, but it's definitely been that. A lot of it's just been like this inner dialogue with myself. Like, I have to really know what I'm trying to say to communicate it with someone before even going there. I've spent several, especially in the early part of the retrograde, some really shocking moments that, I wanted to be angry. I wanted to be frustrated. I wanted to act out. I wanted to be judgmental. I wanted to be blah, 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 all the patterns. But I just laughed and talked with myself about it and took a totally different tone, a totally different viewpoint. And it made life so much easier to communicate, so much so that even an owl knocked on my door.
An owl?
Right.
It's been some very interesting communication. Yeah. So
Tell us a story.
I've enjoyed like I said, the beginning of the retrograde was really difficult because of going into it I love retrograde. It's fun. It's a way to see things differently. And it's sometimes even an excuse to set down technology, to say F you to technology and use that as an excuse. But technology wasn't an issue ever. Or maybe not ever, but not very much. It was all human communication. And the beginning of it, very difficult. I've had lots of company. I've had lots of family. I've had a lot of work situations that were a little trying. And communication has been strained. So I realized that Aries spirit, I have to take it upon myself, but I have to know what I'm saying, because in true Aries fashion, you just blurt things out, move on. You make decisions quickly, move on. If it's not right, you'll fix it later. It's okay. Let's just make steps and move on. Don't hang on to anything. Just go. And I actually took time to just sit and think about stuff for a moment. And then the owl showed up. As time went on in retrograde, it got easier and easier. And then by the time the owl knocked at the door, it was just, it's been smooth sailing from there.
Great. I have one last add before Mo begins, if that's all right.
Sure.
Okay. So in regards to fast action, it just brings up for me, yesterday I was already feeling the energy of the Aries new moon, and the communication mishaps with my boyfriend. He wanted to take space for a week to kind of work through things, but hadn't talked with me about anything. And I'm a very much like, let's just get it all out in the open. Like, let's just do it. So I respected space, but everything in me wanted to bulldoze him. And a couple of my close friends have had to do this with me, where when I shut down and I'm in a fearful place, that I need to be bulldozed. Like, I need someone to come over and be like, hi, I'm over here now, and we are going to talk. And so I finally did that yesterday. And I've never done anything like that before, because I never want to overstep boundaries. I always overthink it. But yesterday I found at a point where I was like, I'm coming over. He said, okay. And then I came over and we sat down and we talked through it. And I was like, there's this confidence in me. And I've always thought of fire signs being like anger, but that's not what it was. It was just this very like direct, let's cut to the chase. And then it was moving, let's move on. It was amazing to actually harness and feel that. And and trust it. Yeah. So that came up for me whenever you're talking about action.
Without feeling like a bully or
Yeah.
aggressive. Yeah. Nice. All right, Mo.
Well, for me, there was one day where literally I had 4 exes texting me at the same time.
Oh,
And
Yes.
that was the weirdest thing to see all of their names in a row like that. I was just like, stop, God, like, why? I have to say, like, as I was texting one, the similarity in the energy field for me was so close that it was kind of gross. I don't know how else to say it. It was like I felt like I was in this weird time loop thing, and it really made me look at everything that I've been going through, and really understanding that. And as you're talking about Aries, I'm sitting here going, I don't think I have much Aries in my chart, but I must have it somewhere, because one thing that I absolutely have is a lack of patience.
yeah.
And one of my exes described my personality as something along the line of a bulldozer. Yeah. I wish I had pitched my star to your bulldozer or something to that effect. I was like, I really understood, like, I don't have a lot of patience. And I don't know.
Say thank
I'm
you.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So I feel like I'm still kind of processing all this, because I did taxes and today, and it was just,
Uh-oh, we lost her.
Yeah, well, I'm able to see her again, but
oh,
there you are.
yeah, I like what you were
And then-
paused on. It from my screen, you're paused on this huge laugh. It was adorable. Yeah.
So
I don't
Mo
know what we'll see in the
said something
video,
about
but
taxes and
what?
said something about you were doing taxes, and then that's when it cut off for us over here.
Yes. Yeah, yeah. Oh, you lost me.
Yes.
Yeah.
Again.
Yep.
Told me that I was going to owe $6,000. And
You're good. You're good now. Oh, I spoke too soon. Okay. She has had more technology hangups over the last few months. I mean, the
Yeah.
last few weeks.
yeah.
To
Yeah.
the point where, yeah.
So
Go ahead. No, to the point where I think she had to get a new computer, or if she didn't, that's what she's working with.
this is my old computer. So anyways, I'll just sit back and let you guys talk. I don't know what else to do.
It's working now. Try it again.
Okay. Anyways, so it was like I went through like a week of stress. Like, where am I gonna, how do I deal with this? And it just, at first my mindset was like overcome, and then I was like, okay, I've just got to deal with this and be thankful I'm in a position where, it's the same attitude that I try to take when I'm paying bills, which is, I'm glad that I can do this. I'm glad that I'm in a position where I have the ability to pay my bills. So I had to like shift my mindset into that perspective instead of being it. And it ended up that when he did everything, I came out with like $1,000 refund anyways. So it was a huge miscommunication with the tax accountant, but good God. I mean, I was like so happy when I got out of that meeting today. I just such a sigh of relief, like, it's over, let it go. But it definitely made me.
Okay. There we go.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, yeah. Are you in a different location in your home with internet service?
No,
It's the computer, huh?
no, I'm
Yeah. Okay.
That's
Well,
okay.
Well, okay. So I don't know. What would you say your biggest takeaway from this last Mercury retrograde experience? What's your biggest takeaway to utilize going forward?
patience. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard you say patience.
Patience.
Yeah, it's just it's about patience and again, no matter what emotions I'm dealing with, I don't have to respond to it. I guess it's really that way with any negative emotion. It's just ride it because you're going to get experience and it passes
Yeah.
to it, which is not easy sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Real.
I learned and I would say this last week was a similar lesson with that, where I was feeling some really deep emotional pain, and I was allowing myself to fully feel it, to fully lean into it, and as a result of that, it would pass. So I was still able to do things like go to my recovery meetings or go to work or go to the gym, even though I was dealing with this a potential breakup for someone that I have very, very strong feelings for. That's a big, big difference for me compared to where I was a couple of years ago, or even a year ago. I would have been grounded, like that. I would have been isolated in my room.
Yeah.
So pay emotions, like what Mo was saying, and allowing. I mean, it's just like a storm, allowing it to move through. That's helpful. And then
Yep.
I've just felt this huge transformation just in these last couple of days with me bringing out my inner Beyonce yesterday and doing my little bulldozer to the boyfriend of just really cutting the shit and being like really straightforward. I kid glove people way too much. I try to take care of feelings way too much. And I have to realize that if I express something and it impacts someone in a way where their energy shifts because I'm sensitive to that, that's okay. Sometimes I'm going to piss people off, and that's okay. And that's a very Aries thing for me. Of that's they can deal with their emotions. By me not letting myself out, that's doing a disservice to other people. And how can I have an open, honest relationship with someone, whether it's a friendship or me with my family or me with my boyfriend or whatever? I have to learn to be more authentic. So it's less thinking about what I'm going to say, which is weird because it's like that's what we've always heard, right? Think about what you say before you say it. But learning to just let it flow more, and being able to actually act a little bit from my emotions. So not horrible reactions, but allowing myself to express when I'm in it rather than go and hide. So those are my big things. I trust myself to feel deep emotions without falling into a deep, dark pit of despair. That's a good thing to remember. Ride the storm. And in patience as well, like Mo said. And then just brutal honesty. If there's tension or whatever it is, the other person's feeling it too. So I'm just going to be like, let's just cut the shit and let's do it. Like, let's talk about this. Let's just clear the air and let's do it. And not be afraid of that confrontation. Those are big takeaways for me. And those are all huge. Like, I've been going to therapy for like a decade for this stuff. It finally clicked.
It's clicking.
Just a little Aries energy will do it.
That's it.
But yeah, just be authentic. You said it. Be authentic. And if you upset someone, if you hurt someone's feelings, I mean, as long as you're true and you're kind,
Yes.
then that's shit they're dealing with. And maybe you just brought something to the table that they need to work on. But
Yeah.
it's just doing it in a very kind way and being authentic. Otherwise, man, take charge.
It felt so amazing to go over to my boyfriend's house, and I just sat down, and his last relationship was a 13-year relationship, most of which was a marriage, and it wasn't healthy. And I sat down and I was like, okay, this conversation is going to be different than any heated discussion you've ever had in your life, because I'm not going to yell at you. I'm not going to attack you. But all this is about is just being open and honest with each other. The goal is to clear the air so we can move on. Whatever's on the other side is fine. You're free to go at any time. And so it felt really great to be in this empowered place and speaking from my feistiness, like I had it in me, but I also was able to take all that I've worked through in the last handful of years and all I've learned about being mindful and recognizing we're both triggered, so we're both in our little injured inner child state. So attacking each other is not going to do shit. So we really, I mean, he had a safe space to finally open up about stuff that he's been scared to share for like a decade and a half. So that's been really cool too, in line with the authenticity, is just being able to, and being kind and everything, like you said. So it's just allowing all that to merge together. Or I don't have to be too nice, and I also don't have to be, you know, like a bitch. I can just be me, and when the intention is there, that like mine, and I kept saying, God, universe, align me with love, align me with love, align me with love. Because love's not going to put up with shit. You know what I mean? Like love's going to be like, no, let's clear the air and let's be real with each other. And that's what happened. And it was like it was just going through me. Like universe was, I was intuitively handling situations that would have baffled me before, you know.
I hear Beyonce is in
That's
town.
awesome.
You hear Beyonce's in town?
Yeah.
All right. Well,
Speaking of, you took over. You took over. That's great. That's amazing.
so what about you, Kim?
Well, one thing about being an Aries, I do speak truth a lot, and throughout the years, it's been kind of a pendulum of, depending upon where I am in my journey, of I need to take it back a notch. I shouldn't say that. I'm going to hurt someone's feelings. I'm too aggressive. I'm too this. I'm too that. Whatever. I've gotten past that quite a bit throughout the years, but there's one thing that always bothered me, and that's something that I dealt with a lot over the past few weeks, was sometimes when I say things, I explain things to people, or, you know, I use my Aries to communicate. I, a lot of times, receive a deer in headlights look. And I've always had a difficult time dealing with that. Internalizing it as a myriad of things, from she's crazy, she doesn't know what she's talking about, who the fuck are you? I mean, I could just name many, many things that would bounce off the mirror to me that I would perceive that people were saying when I'm this direct. And that was fun to work with. That was a lot of fun to work with. And throughout the years, I've played with it before, and usually through drugs and alcohol. I would have fun with it just to poke at people, just to see what kind of reactions I can get by being direct or very Aries aggressive communication. I don't do that anymore, but I really worked in that almost that fear of, well, if I say this, they're going to think I'm crazy. Now, I still say it. It doesn't bother me. I still say it and move on. It is just getting through those, you know, making those quick decisions, making those quick decisions to say what's on my mind, to take steps. I don't have the patience to sit around. If it's a group of people, there's no patience to sit around for people to make, I don't care if it's as simple as where are we going to dinner, to what should we do in this work situation. I've already got an answer. It might not be the right one, and I don't care. It's just, if we're all going to sit around and be nice about it and trying to figure it out, I got an answer. I can always move it. And I can't worry about what people think if it's the wrong thing.
Yep. Because even
let's talk about it. If it's the wrong thing, that's fine. That's fine. If it's wrong. We're going a direction now. We've got something. We've got tools in our hand. We've got a plan. We're heading this way. Let's go. Let's lead.
That's why I tell people, creative friends of mine, when they talk about a creative idea that they have, but I don't know how this is going to turn into what my dream is, right? So they might want to write for the stage, but they have an idea for a blog, and they're like, that doesn't make any sense. But I try to explain that this blog might be the doorway, or maybe the action that you bring up in the meeting, that's the doorway. You walk through that, and then you're like, oh, there's the next door, and there's the next door.
Yeah.
But if we sit here and we just sit in our shit and just talk about it and do this like mental masturbation thing, then like we're not going to get anywhere. And that's what's so great about harnessing that Aries energy. And I forgot you were Aries, and that makes me so happy.
Well, it was a way this time to kind of like, I don't know, like act in spite of fear, because sometimes it's there. It's not always obvious to others, so I'm finding out.
Right.
Sometimes it is, I think, but I can always act. And if something, and this hasn't happened in a very long time, if something keeps me from acting, then I'm in a very low spiritual frequency. Like something's wrong. I'm way out of the line. But fortunately, that's good right now.
Yeah.
Everything's pretty strong.
So what about intentions that we are all setting? So we talked about what we're taking from Mercury retrograde and applying daily. What about intentions that we're planting with this new moon? Actions that we want to take, goals we're moving toward, maybe?
Well, we've been talking about new beginnings for a little while. I mean, it's springtime. It's, we set intentions the first of the year. This new beginning thing has been going on for a while. And I wanted to incorporate more into it of actually creating change. So
Yeah.
The universe is right here in front of us with new beginnings. It's in our lap. It's happening. So what are we going to do about it? And how are we going to create this change that we want to manifest in our life? So the two kind of go together. We're already at our new beginnings. So creating change. We got the Aries moon to make these action steps. Just fucking go. Move it.
Yeah.
So with that said, I'm definitely on this moon. I've got a bunch of new tools that I want to smudge. And I've got quite a few old items that I brought into the mix as well. About 3, maybe 4 years ago, I stopped wearing jewelry. I stopped buying clothes. I stopped buying anything. Just consumerism. I just needed to take a step back, and it became very easy, and I loved it. And I realized it became a habit, which is a good habit. But in that, I stopped wearing jewelry. I brought tons of jewelry out. I've purchased some, and I brought some of my old jewelry, my old pieces out that I want to incorporate into my intention work for this year. So there's some of that for the new moon. I'm just like chill, laid back. I've really already done my work. I'm ready. I'm prepared. Anybody that questions any action that I have going, I'm ready to roll with it. I've already paved the way for this creating change and all these new beginnings. So I'm chilling now.
Awesome. What about you, Mo, if it's working?
Yeah, I've got all the seeds that I saved from the fall. I've got I think some of my seeds are like 4th generation right now, seed save. Some of them are 3, 2, and 1. Got morning glories, sunflowers, a whole bunch of basil and tomatoes and bell peppers and all kinds of stuff. So that's what I've been doing today, is just literally planting seeds physically, and just, having a very mindful attitude as I'm going about it. So that's what I'm doing. Were you able to hear everything I said?
Yeah, we heard everything. I did.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. Planting
Okay, cool.
seed physically and metaphorically.
Yeah, absolutely. But using the physical seeds as the ritual, of metaphoric. The physical seeds are the metaphor of the spiritual and the action, I guess.
Right.
So,
Right.
but I love planting seeds that I've seed saved. there's something really special about being able to, you know, pass on that have been my babies before. So
That is special.
yeah.
You'll have to share some
Um,
garden photos.
Yeah, we'd love to see them.
Yeah. I was sitting in my house talking with a friend, and I was facing the garden. She was sitting facing me, and I was facing her, which was out in the backyard. And we sat there for probably 3 hours in the afternoon, and I literally watched the first green leaves of my myrtle crepe tree come out and meet the sun. And and when we first sat down, they weren't there.
Wow.
And over the course of that 2 hour period, as the sun really began to shine on that part of the garden, all the leaves just bloomed, like literally unfolded and came out. And at first I really didn't believe I was seeing that, but it really was happening. You know, we were there for a good 2-3 hours. So that was an interesting experience.
Oh,
to
that's
witness.
really cool.
That was pretty cool. Yeah.
That resonates a lot for me. I'm glad that you shared that, because what I was going to say about for my intentions with this new moon, a lot of times in the past, I'd be very heady about the intentions I'd set of like, well, here are the exact goals that I would like to manifest. Not saying there's anything wrong with that, but I would get really hyper focused about whatever this thing was. And where I am now in my life is actually just doing the next right thing that's in front of me, like just a very action oriented life of whether that's brushing my teeth or going for a walk or vacuuming my room or going into the office when I don't want to, continuing to move forward and keep that momentum going. And then when you're talking about how you're sitting there talking with your friend and you're seeing this blooming happening right before your eyes, but you're not doing anything to make it happen. Like you're not over there like, bloom, bloom.
Right. Yes.
And that's been how what'd you say?
I was just the witness.
Yeah, you were the witness. And so I feel like where I am in my life, it's learning to do the action steps in order to keep this meat suit busy, while spirit or God or whatever we call it will flow through me or flow into my life and these beautiful things manifest. Because I think when I get too hyper focused, I mean, I really have blinders on and I'm not able to see those beautiful things blooming. And then I'm just focusing on what I don't have. I'm trying to get that thing I don't have. So where I am now is more of like, whatever happens, happens. And it's probably going to be way better than whatever I would have hyper focused on anyway. So I'm going to take what I've learned. I'm going to apply it to daily life with each little step that I take, you know, and that feels good.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Well,
Yeah.
I've been working with a few stones. Everything. The dogs are getting crazy now. The colors of this new beginning and creating change is green and yellow. So we're really working with the solar plexus and the heart chakra right now. So I've been working with an amber for quite some time. Let me think. A little over a year. This isn't it, actually. It's in the other room, ready for under the new moon, because I'm going to sage it in a little bit. But it's similar to this. It's about this size, somewhere around that size. But it's this beautiful, awesome amber. And then another is this peridot that I haven't used in a while, and I love this baby too. So I'm going to do some gardening too, Monique, and I'm not doing it under the new moon. This is just part of my process this month. I'm just going to wait until it's really great weather and do a little intentional garden as well. But those two colors are really going to be a focus. Even though I work on like all the chakras, I just really think those two over this next month is going to be very important to take those action steps for creating change.
Awesome.
I think solar plexus energy is kind of the fuel or the power system of the body. And if you're connecting your solar plexus with your heart chakra and you're leading from the heart, you can't go wrong. So makes sense to work with them together that way.
Yeah, it's more heart-centered confidence rather than being cocky, you know? I think a lot of, for me, I've looked at confidence or being overly confident as cocky, but having that's anchoring into the solar plexus and also connecting into the heart, that, I don't know, that's just such a beautiful mix. Yeah, so it's like heart-centered action and heart-centered power and all of that. That's the real deal. That's brilliant. I love that.
Yeah, nice. All right, well, we've got a fun month ahead.
Yeah, we do.
Yes, we do.
All right, any ideas of no, we don't need that now. That's thinking in the future, and we don't need that right now. But be thinking and communicate when our next new moon chat for next month, what we want to consider.
Okay.
So we can parlay this into it and keep our energy flowing, because we've got a lot of really great new things occurring.
Yeah. We have
I say that in the spirit of, what'd you say, Monique?
it'll be Taurus, right?
Taurus, all right.
So abundance.
Yeah.
So I say that in the spirit of Aries and of action and of staying present and one step at a time sort of thing, that yeah, it's good for us to communicate what we want to do for Taurus, but maybe let's stay really present with the Aries energy for now. And we can check in a few days before. Once we start to feel that transition happen, when we're transitioning into Taurus, we can say, here's what's coming up for us now. Because we all grow so fast. Anytime that we talk, it's like, whew, yeah, that's way in the past. It's way in the past. And there's and it's really exciting. So really, we have no idea what's going to happen in this next month, which is so cool.
I know, really.
That.
Great.
All right. So definitely same time next month.
For sure.
And yeah, we'll stay in communication. And you guys, I love you both. It's been great.
Happy new moon.
Happy new moon.
Happy manifesting.
Oh yes. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, guys.